All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first Builders Call of June. Great to see your faces. We're going to jump in today to something that I'm really excited about. That is, there's not a lot of information out there yet. However, it will be continuing to come. So this call happens the first and third Tuesdays of each month. And the purpose is for anyone that's looking to grow and build an organization, to learn best practices, to be in community and support and conversations that are going to be impactful in growing, moving the needle forward, and really accelerating what is possible for you to do within the context of the platform of EXP and building communities of thriving agents. So before we jump into the call for today, I would invite you to get something to write with and something to write on. You're going to want to make some notes. And so the context that you may be listening to this call from could be for yourself personally as a growth plan for you. However, if outside of that, I'd like you to add this into listening in the context of people that will be or are may already be in your organizations that are growing their own organizations. And so, uh, just to kind of lay some groundwork and foundation for those that may be coming to the call for the first time, one of the things that has been so incredible about EXP and the company's growth is the model in place for growth, and specifically what that model has been, which is that uh, the company would grow through agents that wanted to grow the company. I am unable to see everyone. I only see you really big, Selena, and I have clicked on every option for tiles.
In the upper right hand corner where it says speaker, gallery, things like that. Do you have it on gallery?
I have it on grid, gallery. There's thumbnail. Uh, View, gallery. Oh, there we go. Thank you. I was clicking on the wrong thing.
No worries.
Okay, so the growth plan for EXP is that the company would be grown by agents for agents. So for those of you that are coming to the call for the first time, how they decided to do that is to reward and incentivize the behavior that they wanted, which is people helping people. And so for that, the company has a program where they share 50% of the revenue that comes into the company back with the agents. And there's a whole compensation structure in place for that. For those of you that have been around a little bit longer, you know that as the company's developed and new programs have come out, there's been multiple ways to be able to take advantage of that program and the kind of benchmarks that there are. I'm going to share. I'm going to share my screen so that you have a visual reference to give some history. And we're going to talk about the three different ways that there are to now be able to qualify and be compensated on your entire organization from EXP. So if we go to the Empire Builders Pro site, which is empirebuilders.pro, this is our community. And under attraction and recruiting, under the EXP FAQs, if you scroll down on the FAQs, what you'll see there is the compensation structure for EXP. And so I'm going to talk about the first way that you qualify in getting compensated on the agents, regardless of where they're at in your 7 levels. So if we look at this page, this is qualification path number 1, and this is through personal recruiting that you would do where agents are sponsored to you through the company, and they every 6 months are closing at least $5,000 in GCI. That would be considered a first level qualified active. If they're not closing real estate deals, then they're just a first level active, but they're not qualified. And so as you look at the 7 different tiers of revenue share that are available, what this shows is within those 7 tiers, the maximum amount of revenue shared on a capping agent that's on a $16,000 cap, a full cap per year. So 1,400 on the first level, 1,600 on the second tier, and all the way down to the seventh. If you add up all those numbers, they total $8,000, which is exactly 50% of company dollar, and half of that 16,000 on the 80-20 split. So to the track number one for qualification is that you can personally recruit agents that are active. So once you come to EXP, every agent day one, there's zero personal recruiting requirements to be able to get paid on your first three tiers. So let's say that Lori comes to EXP, she names me as her sponsor, and her friend Monique comes with her. Lori would be on my first level, Monique would be on my second. And let's say Monique has a relationship with Brad, who has his own independent brokerage of 15 plus agents, and then Brad decides to come in. Brad would come in on my third level, and then his agents would come in on subsequent levels. So for me as an EXP agent, I would get paid on those first three tiers because I have Lori that I've personally sponsored, and there's no other requirements. If I want to get paid on tier four, which would be the agents that Brad brings in, I need to have at least 5 people that I have personally sponsored that are FLQAs to open up tier four and get paid on 1 through 4. If I want to get paid on 1 through 5, I would need to have 10 agents closing 5,000 or more in GCI every 6 months to have 10 FLQAs on 1 through 5. If I want to get paid 1 through 6, I would need to have 15 of those. And if I wanted to get paid on 1 through 7, I would need to have 30. So that is track number one on how you get paid on all 7 of your tiers of agents within EXP. Track number 2 was launched with EXP 2.0. And so the company thought, okay, well, what is another behavior that we want to reward and incentivize? And that would be for production. And so what they did is they created track number 2 for opening up your tiers. And that is for agents that are on a full $16,000 cap. Once they cap, levels tiers 1 through 5 are open for the next 13 months. So how you cap on that $16,000 cap is roughly 3.25 in volume, million in volume, if your average commission is 2.5%. So that's how you would open up tiers 1 through 5 based on your personal sales production. If you continue on and become an icon agent, which you can do every year, which is either a total of 500,000 in GCI, gross commission income personally, or an additional 20 transaction sides after you cap, then that opens up through your personal production all 7 tiers for 13 months. So that is track number 2 on how you would qualify based on sales production. And that was to reward the behavior of let's get agents capping and not have to worry about, oh, I need to have 10 agents that are FLQAs that I personally recruit to open up 5 levels. Nope, I can cap every year on a full cap and open up those 5 levels or those 5 tiers. And if I'm a really productive agent and focusing on being an icon and doing that every year, I don't have to worry about FLQA management to get paid on the entire organization that I have. I can simply, through being a very productive agent and iconing every year, have the entire pay structure open to me. Okay, I know that was a lot of information just right off the bat. So I want to pause and just take any questions or clarifications before we move into the new track that has been launched. No? Okay, well, this one I'm really excited about. And so here's what I want you to be thinking is here's the question that there has been from day one behind the scenes on a corporate level with people that have large organizations. And it is, if this really is supposed to be a legacy plan where I have an opportunity to not be doing the production level of an icon agent if I want my priorities change, right? And I want to pull back from personal production in any way, shape, or form. Or let's say I'm not wanting, I have a sales team and that's not what I want to keep doing. I don't want to keep running a sales team, but I have this organization. So there are people with larger organizations who are staying in personal production to icon every year, or who are running, which is a lot to orchestrate and do over time, running sales teams to be able to meet the requirements and not have to be in this, conversation of I need to go find another agent so that I have enough FLQAs to open up all 7 levels. The other thing that it created, so that you understand, is where's the best time and energy spent. So like if I look at some of the people that are on this call, like Leo, Leo Robles on this call has an organization of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of agents. The best use of his time is not looking for an agent that is going to join the company that does a couple of deals a year so that he opens up all 7 levels and gets paid on his organization that's grown and matured. The best use of Leo's time and energy is matching energy for energy with his agents that want to grow. And so this new program, this new track has aligned, it's a leadership track, and it is made intentionally to reward the behavior that grows and flourishes organizations at the highest level, which is leadership. And so think about in concept, and I have some videos of the back end stuff that corporate has created that's not released yet, so you can see just how incredible this is going to be. And I'm going to share those on my screen because I recorded them during our call that I had on Monday with them. But when you think about, wow, for someone that has an organization like Leo has and the size of that organization, he does not need to look every month and go, okay, I have how many agents on levels that I'm not getting compensated on. And so I've got to pull my own personal energy and efforts from the organization that could use my help and get the highest return on my time, energy, and effort, and go be in these onesie twosie conversations with agents so that I can get paid on the organization I already have. So if you think about that, like it creates a split agenda of sorts. And then also what it does is in a marketplace like LA, where there are so many agents and agents within his organization and people that have a lot of shared and the same relationships. So Leo, if he's like, okay, well, I'm personally recruiting and I'm personally recruiting this person, now he's got someone on his third or fourth tier in his organization that's like, yeah, but I know them. We've been like BFFs and I've been talking to him. And it's like, Leo's like, but I didn't know that because I've been talking to him for 2 years and he's ready to come over now. Leo's not going to run competition with someone in his organization. He would sponsor that agent under the person in his organization. So now Leo's efforts to help open up his 7 levels through personal recruiting, he's not in a perceived competition with anyone in his organization because now there's no reason not to, that conversation goes away. So when you think about the why, I always like to focus on why things were created. And when you really get your arms wrapped around why, it makes a lot of sense from a collaboration and a growth standpoint. Again, this third track is to reward the behavior and incentivize the behavior that you want to see to really grow organizations. And that is organizations that duplicate and scale because that's where legacy gets created. You're not going to have a family legacy on an organization of 25 agents. It's not going to be something that, it may make a car payment or a portion of a house payment, and that could be amazing, over time. But when I'm talking about legacy, I'm talking about things that really move the needle in big ways because that's what we all have at our fingertips. And so I am super excited. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to outline what the program is. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a sneak peek into the video recordings of the back office that's still going through the legal approval process that hasn't yet been launched and released, that will be in the next couple of weeks as they're onboarding agents to this program that qualify for it, because there is a qualification process. You have to go through an application and an interview and a qualification, and that's being definitely tracked and looked at. And so the next piece that comes into play is that there's this symbiotic relationship now with corporate at an even deeper level, because for people that are part of this Legacy 500 program, there's quarterly calls with corporate. So I'll have a quarterly call with corporate, and we're talking about everything about the organization, different growth paths and people in the organization, what I'm doing personally and what we're doing. And these ideas now are getting shared collectively for the greater good of everyone. So think about an organization like EXP of 83,000 agents where leaders are now coming together in collaboration and truly working at an even higher level. Okay, so let's jump into what the legacy program is first. And there's going to be, some of you are familiar with groups that have existed in the past, the alpha group, the beta group. Like, did anyone ever really get excited about being in a beta group when what is possible is to be in an alpha group? No. So they've changed the language on around some of that. And so everything now is in the context of legacy. And so here's the Legacy 500 program. if you have 10 agents in your organization, you are now moving forward going to be referred to as a legacy builder because it's evidence that you're building and growing an organization. If you have 50 agents or more, you'll be referred to as a legacy leader, and these are corporate categories now. If you have 200 agents or more in your organization, you'll now be referred to as a legacy partner. 500 agents or more is Legacy Pinnacle, and this is where you can open up all 7 tiers. And Legacy Visionary, there's no difference between the Pinnacle and Visionary, other than you need to have at least 1,000 agents. So this is 1,000 active agents in the organization. When you log into your back office, you'll see total number of agents, and then you'll see your active number of agents. And so you need to have at least 500 active agents. So that is the qualification number one is for someone with an organization size of 500 or more. Here is the next piece, the next pieces of what that looks like. So they're going it based on a point system over 12 months. So like for me, I had the interview with them on Monday and I had more than quadruple the number of points that I would need in a year. And so they immediately opened up all 7 levels because I hadn't been getting paid on my 7th level for the last year plus. But I had been doing all of the leadership things to meet the requirements for the program. So on the first of the month, it happens the first of each month, they were able to get it in on my meeting was on Monday. It got pushed through on Monday, and that's reflected now all 7 levels are open moving forward. Every 6 months, the qualification renews, and here's how they're tracking it. It's based on points. So 20 points must come from attending events, EXPCon, Regional Rally, and the top 250 agent masterminds. There's 4 of those a year. So at least 20 points on the event category. And again, these are EXP events, not events like Brent Gove's events. These are company events. And so that gives 4, 5, 6 different events to choose from. And you need 4 of them for the year to meet the event points. The impact points come from things that are either in-person events or virtual events, and there's different points for those. So an in-person attraction event or a virtual attraction event, an in-person training event or a virtual training event. And those points are rewarded. Now, what they want is of the impact points, of those 20 impact points that happen, they want to come from events with or for other organizations, meaning that they're open to, that they're invited to, and that they're included in. Now, there's agent productivity metrics that have to be met as well. And so the percentage of agents that from a per transaction, they're looking at the company's average is 5.5 transactions per agent. They want the productivity of the agents in the organization to be at least that. Our organization is just over 6 transactions per agent, which is great. So for those of you that are a part of Empire Builders Pro in our community, you're doing a great job. And then for the percentage, they're looking at a percentage, okay, of those 500 plus agents, what is the percentage of those agents that are completing 3 or more transactions per year? In our personal organization with Empire Builders, we have 41% of the agents that are in there doing 3 or more transactions each year. So those metrics are being met based on production. So if you look at like the health of how this is set out, is we know what happens from going to events. People's vision gets expanded, their belief goes up, and they grow. And yet a lot of people will make events optional, like, well, if I don't know, I'll figure it out. Well, I think so. Well, if I have someone going, then I'll go to the event. Versus, no, here's the events that I'm going to because I'm a leader. I know if I'm going to the events, I'm going to recruit to the events, I'm going to get my organization to the events, and I'm going to be inviting my own guests to events. That is a growth track that involves leadership. The other one of like, I don't know, I'll see, we'll wait, maybe will, maybe not, is not a leadership. So it's not, this is why the events part is being rewarded from the corporate standpoint, because it's really important to grow with the company and have people, yes, we have our own communities, but we also have this incredible company that's making it all possible. So they're rewarding the events for that reason. And then the personal leadership one on the impact points is kind of self-explanatory. Okay, any questions? And then there's an application to be able to apply, which is how you go through through that. Any questions on that before we move to the videos of what the back office looks like and what they're making available? No questions?
Would like the retreats that you do at your house count for in-person training?
They do. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share the next screen, and this screen is specifically dedicated to the Legacy 500 program. So once you're approved for the program, you get access to a login. And the login, here's what it looks like. Um, it's showing agents and points. So if we look down here and go to what that looks like, impact points and event points. So by way of example, I put the regional rally one in there. It's been logged and they want evidence. So I had the video recap of me speaking at that event, or I've attached, my ticket to that event or some kind of evidence that I was actually at that event. You notice today, the virtual training event, this Builders Best Practices call is sitting in a draft file. And here's where it is. And I'll have the link to the recording so they can go check and verify that I actually did this training or did this event. And then how many people were on it. I'm saved it as a draft because it hasn't yet happened yet. So these get logged. It's up to each person to log them, each leader to log them and to document them. And then they will get submitted for review. So again, the 20 impact and the 20 event points are within the course of 1 year. So by meeting quarterly with corporate, it's like, are we on track? How's it going? What could be improved? What's the metrics that we're measuring against that? Okay, any questions on that before we move on to the exciting videos that I have to share with
Do
you?
you know if they've approved having three-way calls for other people?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
No, no, not yet. And that was brought up on our leadership call as something to do. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to verify that those have actually happened. So that's the only kind of glitch I see with that because unless you're recording the calls that you're doing and and attach those recordings, that could be, complicated to track. Okay, so I'm going to go here. So what they've created now is this entire back office system, and I'm going to play the video so that you can see it, but it is unbelievable. What you're going to see is that it's taken all of the thousands of agents that are in the organization and it's organized them on 0 to 3 transactions. When you click that, you're going to see all of the agents that come up that have done 0 to 3 transactions in the organization. And so the idea with this is that based on agent productivity, now there's different programs matched with corporate that will have the ability to communicate directly with agents. The emails are already written on what the program is, when the next one's coming up that can help them on their growth path, and a way to really streamline and simplify the communication and the effectiveness with it. So this is what you're going to see in the first video. I'm going to go ahead and share it, although I've got to be able to get back to here to do that. Here we go. I'll probably make it bigger. 0 to 3 transaction agents, you're 4 to 7, you're 8+. So by clicking on each of these, it will just segment your agents, your team leaders. So whatever segment you want to look at. And we've got it broken down. There's kind of 2 benchmarks that we're looking at. One is 8 or more units, because we know that we retain 91% of our agents who sell 8 or more transactions. So you've got this little tracker over here to show you how close they are to 8. And then the 0 to 3 right here, that 3 transaction unit that we talked about on the other page, that's because we retain 77% of our agents who get to 3 transactions. So when you get your dashboard, you'll be able to click here and just see the list of agents. If you wanted to give them a call, you can click here to give them a call. You can send them an email. You can send them a direct message via the hub. But I'm going to show you the email template right now. So if you wanted to send an agent an email, you just click on that email button and it will give you suggested trainings based on agent avatar. So in this one, I think I'm on the 0 to 3 units. So it's suggesting the Solo Agent Mastermind and Fast Tap.
If you wanted to send them to something else, all you have to do is click it, but it will give you that suggested training based on who they are. Click the next button and it will write the email for you. And it basically says, based on where you are in your business, here's a few resources I'd love for you to explore. And it will give them information on each of those with the links to go and sign up. If you wanted to then send this to other agents of the same avatar, you just click here and suggest or add all of them that you would like. And then each one of these agents will get their own email from you. It's not in a bulk. It's not a BCC. It's going to look like you type this out and send it to all of the agents. And it will come, directly from you to them. So this dashboard that you'll get will allow you to easily reach out to your agents and try to move the needle. Even though your productivity of your organization is really good, we want to give you the levers that you can pull to keep it high.
Okay, so that is that's video number 1, but wait, there's more. Oops. Here's the next one. Maybe. There we go.
3 different productivity measurements for an organization. The first one is organization per person productivity. So we want you to be and all of these are compared to company average. So our company average, if you look at last 12 months, it was 5.73. But if I look at last 12 months, it was 5.5. You beat both of those. So your per person productivity in your organization is a 6. So way to go. That's amazing. And then we also look at organization efficiency, which is just a way to say what % of your agents are closing 3 or more transactions in the last 12 months. So your company average is just around 38.5, 38.3, and yours is 40.1. So you have a greater percentage in the company of agents closing 3 or more transactions. And then we look at the number of agents in your organization who've hit that 3 mark, and you have 960 of them. So you have a very productive organization. Way to go. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, they're doing great. It's not me selling, it's them. Yeah.
But you're leading them. So this is the overview page.
Okay, so let me see, was there one more? No, that was it. Okay, so what they're also going to be adding as a result of our conversation is growth benchmarks. So so let me back up a little bit before I say that, is that on those emails, like if I'm sending an agent an email to invite them to FastCap, the company on the back end, it won't show on that dashboard, but the company on the back end will know if they've registered for FastCap. The company is then tracking if they're participating in and completing FastCap, and then also they're tracking now the production of the agent connected to being in the FastCap program. So the company will have the metrics on the effectiveness and efficiencies of the programs and the trainings. So they'll have all of that now running. What they're going to add in, and it hasn't yet been built, but it came up as a result of us talking, is recognition benchmarks. So for agents that are growing, we talked about like, okay, once an agent hits, 50 agents in their organization, then 100, then 300, then 500, then 1,000, then 3,000, then 5,000 and above, that as that migration is happening, that it's automated in the background. So when either that triggering event happens on the 1st of the month or the 15th of the month, that back office would be like, oh, so-and-so just hit, 50 agents in their organization. So from a recognition perspective, instead of pulling reports and scouring sheets of things of when people are capping or iconing, like all of that will now be automatically happening. And then additionally requested, and they'll be adding in that we'll be able to track and see who has registered for things like EXPCon and regional rallies. So that from a leadership perspective, going like, hey, are you going? Are you not going? Get yourself registered, get your people registered, and being able to then better plan for events and supportive things around that from a leadership perspective. So very exciting, really, really exciting. And I think that, when you look at like for my personal, like what what the vision is obviously a lot of those things are already, well, all of those things are already happening from a metrics perspective, but these are like the minimum requirements, right? So like if you look at like if you're going to be doing your own leadership stuff, which is what we want, it's how we duplicate leadership is, and you're hosting your own trainings and you're hosting your own calls. So like I've got the builders call and the free Friday coaching call. That's 4 calls a month that are virtual training calls at 3 points. That's 12 points a month times 12 months. That's 144 points before I do a builders retreat quarterly or fly out to Nashville in November to speak for Pete Middleton's event, or before I flew to Hawaii to go do the build event and speak at that event. All of those things add up. So the idea is that everybody can express in their own style of leadership and be rewarded for what that is. And obviously those minimum standards are the minimums, but what we want to see is we want to see people growing, we want to see people duplicating, we want to see the productivity of agents continuing to go up, and that people are working more closely together in community. So I am super stoked about the program. And it is, I think that in a lot of ways, it's going to simplify and streamline for people that are leaders that want to lead and focus on leadership and be able to have that investment give them the highest return on the time, energy, and effort, and focus where it matters most, which is not in the minutia and the weeds of things. It's in the, okay, who are the people that want to run and grow? How do I match energy for energy with those people? And let's go tear it up, right? And that is what grows and builds healthy organizations. So super excited. Open for any questions, thoughts, comments? I'm smiling with my whole face. You just can't see it because it's been numb for a month.
What about because I go to like Sheplack's stuff. Would those count as in-person events
So,
like KFR?
so on that, it is, they're looking, I do not know the answer to that question.
Susan question.
So, so the impact points are events that you are putting on yourself, not ones that you're attending. So the ones that you're hosting, right?
Right.
The event points, when you're going to events, if you're going to events and it's like a prospecting event, the events are EXP events. And the idea with that is if you're getting prospects or team there, organization there, that's going to be focused in that growth. So my gut would say no on that, but I don't know the answer for sure.
Okay. Because I know like on the KFR intensive, we actually bring a list and actively dial in front of people. So we're recruiting during those. Okay. I can ask.
Yeah. I think it'll continue to evolve over time. And it will continue to evolve over time. So this is how they're launching it. And like anything, it's not going to stay static. There'll be things that evolve and change for sure. But
I'm excited about it. It like breathed a new life into me, and I already had a lot of life.
yeah, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Okay, cool. Any other questions?
So the dashboard that you showed us, that's amazing, by the way. Is that all that's only available for Legacy 500 applicants, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And the criteria like to apply for that, can you just revisit that one more time as far as
Yep.
like what it takes to be part of it?
Yep. So you need to have at least 500 agents that are in your organization. There's production metrics that have to be met for what percentage of the agents in your organization are closing 3 or more transactions. I thought that was interesting, and why that benchmark's important because of the retention to the company for agents. So 77% retention if an agent's doing at least 3 transactions. And then the percentage of the agents that you have that are doing 3 or more transactions. And
Okay.
then the per agent productivity company is 5.5. So they want to see it at or above.
Okay. How
And then,
many
oh, go
how
ahead.
many people in the organization does this apply to now?
A handful, six, two handfuls. But it's not so it's great for those six. I'm one of them, right? I would be seven.
Right.
But what it's actually, how I will be using it is for agents that aren't yet at 500. So the agents that are at 100, 200, 300, because somebody that's got 100 agents in their organization has an organization, right? So now it is, how do we pull the levers to do the things that really move the needle forward, right? Because everybody's excited about rev share, at some point, and then, everybody's not at some point when they're not, it's not happening as fast as they want it to happen, or blah 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 blah, whatever, right? There's different things that you learn along the way. So there's the managing of energy and expectations of like, oh, I have 100 agents in my organization. Yeah, well, 62 of them are on mega teams, which means you have a $4,000 cap, which it might be 100, $200 per agent per year, maybe. Maybe. So like that changes it, right? So it's not, so with that, are those agents important? Absolutely, those agents are important. But for somebody that's got like a 100 agent organization, that maybe that's what their organization looks like, we go, okay, but like who are the people that are builders in that organization? Yeah, you're at 100, but what's our growth? Like who in your organization wants to grow to have their own 100, and who are we going to match energy for energy with to build them to 100, right? And before you know, you got four of those people that you're working with, and all of a sudden you're at 500. And your personal recruiting is, if you're not in production or not an icon agent, you're not leaving money on the table as the organization continues to grow and mature. And that's the really big thing, right? Because so if you look at like for as an organization grows and matures, you have more and more agents that come in on deeper levels in the organization, because that is the compounding interest, the penny doubling a day, for 30 days. That's how organizations, when you have duplication, you're going to have greater and greater numbers the deeper those tiers are. And so right out of the gate, like if you look at somebody like me, the last retreat that we had, Kim has people here from her organization, which are amazing. She had somebody that was brand new that had just signed up, that had me on a call with a husband and wife broker team, and they had 200 agents. Well, this new agent that's sitting here at the retreat is on my seventh level. That brokerage of 200 plus agents is going to be on my eighth, ninth, and 10th. And I'm not getting paid on my seventh level. So, like, for me as a leader to go, like, oh, okay, man, this is great. I'm super grateful for the 800 plus agents on that seventh level that for a year, EXP's been, I've been like the balancing act, personal recruiting, organization stuff, do all of the things, right? But oh my gosh, I really need to be personal recruiting. And I'm sitting in a retreat thinking about, yes, I'm pouring into my people, I'm doing stuff, but shoot, like, all this business, like, so it's a divided, it becomes like really challenging. And am I going to not pour into the people? No, I'm always going to pour into the people, right? So, but at personal cost to myself for what that looks like. And that was the position for somebody that had an organization that's growing and building. So with this program, it now takes that off the table completely. It'll never be a conversation, because you're specifically looking at growing and building and rewarding people that want to grow and build. And so to know that, like, if like I will be using this program and looking at people in the organization, who's at 100 agents, who's at 200, 300, like, okay, great, who are their builders they want to build? How do we now get in, work more closely together, match energy for energy, and help them grow and expand their organizations, and not have a second thought about, oh, well, I'm leaving money on the table because my organization's growing, but I have a divided interest. Like, that conversation's gone because of this program. So it can really be a pure, clean, like, hey, growing people for the sake of growing people, and everybody wins all the way around. For their time, energy, and efforts to do that. So, yes, it's exciting for the six people that are 500 or more agents that are already in my organization, but I'm more excited for the people that are 50, 100, 200 that want to grow. And so specifically, the next retreat, the builders retreat that we're doing, will be July 17th and 18th here in Pacific Grove. We still have spots open for that. So it's great for like Kim. I know you're already doing this, is like like, is there anyone, who are those people that want to grow and build, and let's get them in the room and get that vision laid out and have the right people in the right rooms. And then that's how things grow and build. So it's a reward for the current leadership that already meets all those benchmarks and has been leading and pouring in and doing all the things without having to. But it's more exciting for me because, like, oh my goodness, like Brad, you doing your own events based on your vision and what you're drawn to and how you want to do that and how you want to see it. Uh, and Kim, yours would be different than Brad's. I'm, guessing Brad doesn't have a money gun. Kim has a money gun. And, there's a place for everybody to express their own leadership styles. And we want that, right? That is what we want because, like, from a leadership perspective, everybody's got to pay bills first. And so in the getting the bills paid, that takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. And then sometimes the leadership stuff is the leftovers because, like, okay, I got to make sure my own family's taken care of. Now, what do I have to for the people, right? Now this is not two conversations, it's one conversation, because it's all focused in one direction. So the more, and now great, like I want people stepping into their own leadership and leading in the ways that they want and the things that they want to do. That's how you create legacy. That's how you're going to get organizations of 100, 2, 3, 4, 500, thousands of people, is by duplicating leadership. Yep. All right, cool. Well, any other thoughts, questions?
I have something. So just that person that you talked about that has the 200. So I'm at 308 right now, I think. Just that would put me into the pinnacle. And I don't really have anything on levels 6 and 7. Do you think that they would meet with me prior to those 200 and just look at the things and evaluate? Because I've gone to a bunch of stuff already this year that could qualify to like get the dashboard set up for me once they get through all the people that like yourself.
I think that I don't know. It's worth asking because I know they're really solid on you got to have the 500
Right.
to to put in the application, like in the org.
Okay.
So
I'm just thinking of ways that I can make sure what I'm doing is accurate now, because you know what I mean? So that once I'm ready, I'm ready.
yeah, yeah. So from a attending events, bringing people to events, and the company stuff, you're all plugged into those. So the event side is handled, check mark, right? And then you're doing your own stuff as well. So I mean, 20 points is
Pretty easy to get.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. My guess would be you already have enough points on both of those from the point side. And so now it's just the agent count and productivity for the agents. All right, fantastic. Well, that is it. That is it. That is all of the Legacy 500 program. So actually, I'm going to share the screen one more time because there's people that were not on at the beginning to see all of that. So for everybody that is growth or growing, here will be the different benchmarks. Legacy Builder, 10 agents or more in your group. Legacy Leader, 50 agents or more in your group. Legacy Partner, 200 or more. That Legacy Pinnacle. I can put this link in the chat so that you guys can look at it and have
Casey, what's the benefit of having the 200? It looks like the only benefit is when you get to 500. That's when you basically become an influencer for the company, right?
So the you know how we've had like the alpha group, beta group, and different people based on the sizes of their organizations.
Yes.
So those are going away to be replaced with the legacy ones that I just showed based on those benchmarks. So there's a weekly leadership call for the Legacy 200. that used to be the beta call, but that now will be the Legacy 200 call. So people with at least 200 agents in the organization. And then the opening up of all 7 levels through the leadership and events is 500 or more.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. So those calls are Thursdays, and they have a rotation. I forgot where I wrote it. The rotation is different. But it's on Thursdays at 9 a.m. So there's one call per week that hits the different groups. So there's the Legacy 500 group, and then 1,000, and then 200, and then I forget what the fourth one is. But yeah, so those are calls with corporate that I recommend if you're, growing and building. Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, like get on those calls, get in those conversations, rooms with those people that are in similar places, working and growing and building. So like by way of example, what could happen is if you get invited to speak at someone's event that they're hosting, that they're putting on, now that's counting towards your points by supporting somebody that may not be in your organization. Like me being invited to Nashville to speak at the event that Pete Middleton's doing, right? Before when he asked me, and I'm like, oh, I have all of this travel that I'm already doing this year and blah, blah, blah. And I said, let me get back to you before committing and just saying yes. It's like, well, now me traveling to Nashville to support Pete in an event he's doing keeps me and is part of like leadership points that are being tracked with the company on how we grow together. And so because there's metrics and tracking now and bringing people together, like I've got Curtis, Kurt Shewell, that's like, hey, let's intentionally, I want you in front of my people, I want to bring you out for an event. Okay, great, we're going to have a call tomorrow morning to talk about what that could look like, right? So like I love it. You guys know I haven't been in production since 2009 and didn't have a desire to go back into production, but I love growing people and I love helping people grow, their mindset and their skill sets and their businesses and their lives. And so it's so cool. Like I stood in the kitchen crying when they were rolling out this program. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can live in the things that are aligned and true for me, that resonate for who I am and what's authentic to me, and do more of that, right? And be incentivized to do more of that because of the greater collective good and the growth that we can all have from it, right? So like now and that reciprocal thing is true, in the same way. If I reached out to a leader and was like, hey, will you come, come be a speaker at an event that I'm doing, they may be like, oh, I'm busy with my own organization doing my own stuff. Well, now because the company's looking at you doing stuff outside of your own organization to help the greater collective, there's an incentive and a reason for those people to say yes, where they might otherwise have just been like, oh, I'm focused on my own group, right? So when you think about the community and collaboration, aspect that now is built in with that as well, it's pretty cool. All right, upward and onward, my friends. Today is a wrap. And I'm asking for good thoughts, prayers, juju, whatever you believe in. Like, wake up my face now. It's been 4 weeks. I'm ready for it to be working again. So, thank you. Appreciate each and every one of you. Making a great day. Thank you, Selena and Laura, for being here. Open up the call, and the recording will be posted later today.